Welcome to News from Mars, because Earth news is crap. Let's begin with the human equivalent of spilled radioactive soup. The dirty pant-in-chief has decided to cosplay as the sheriff of Gotham by taking over the DC police force. Yes, DC, the place where crimes usually involve overpriced lattes and congressional lies, is now crawling with National Guard troops in camo, probably wondering if they signed up to fight aliens or break up jaywalkers. Apparently, crime is so out of control that he's decided to save the city by doing what he does best, bulldozing over democracy with a grin and a baseball cap. Never mind that the city's own data shows crime is down. Down like his approval rating after the last debate, which was basically a dramatic reenactment of an unplugged Roomba trying to find its way home. But our orange overlord isn't done. He's got his sights on a new title, Captain Crime Fixer. And nothing screams fixer like flooding a city with military-grade muscle during a local budget dispute. You know what we call that on Mars? Overcompensation. You lost control of your council, not a hostage situation. Now, while this law and order opera plays out in the Capitol, let's zoom into the icy underworld of the United States. And no, I'm not talking about Minneapolis in winter. I'm talking about ICE. Because nothing says home of the brave like deporting American children with cancer. Yes, you heard that right. Not an error, not a mistake. An actual 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer was deported. A citizen. Poof. Gone. Like your last brain cell during a reality show marathon. His crime? Existing while brown in a system run by people who think due process is the name of a band. It's a Kafka-esque fever dream, folks. One kid vanished mid-flight before a judge could even hear the case. Another ended up in a country he didn't know without medication, medical support, or the basic comfort of knowing his country had his back. Apparently, ICE's motto is, whoops, he'll learn Spanish eventually. But the horror show doesn't end there. Let's fly over to New York City, where ICE has turned a holding facility into a germy, crowded Airbnb for the desperate. Cells packed tighter than conspiracy theorists at a UFO convention. No beds, no soap, barely any light. If Guantanamo had a basement, it'd look like this. It took a judge to tell grown adults to provide soap and toilet paper. Congratulations, America. You've officially fallen behind the restroom policies of 1990s school buses. Now let's add another layer of absurdity. 100,000 Americans have reportedly applied to join ICE to help deport undocumented immigrants. That's right, apparently this is the new CrossFit, signing up to round people up, fueled by protein bars and patriotism. One guy even called it my chance to serve. I didn't realize vigilante tourism had made it to the big leagues. And before you scream fake news, let's talk about who's being arrested in these so-called crackdowns. ICE proudly announced they snagged the worst of the worst, while conveniently skipping over the thousands who are just trying to keep a job, raise a kid, or, I don't know, survive stage 4 cancer. Now, let's spin the globe. Welcome to Texas, where lawmakers and toddlers throw tantrums with equal flair. State Democrats have finally returned from their self-imposed exile after trying to dodge redistricting votes. Yes, they fled like kids avoiding bath time, and returned just in time to say, we didn't really change anything, but we made a point. That point being, apparently, we exist. Meanwhile, over in California, the governor's in a courtroom cage match with the Orange Avenger over who controls the National Guard. Legal scholars are debating whether the president overstepped his powers, while military commanders are side-eyeing each other like, did you bring the popcorn? One judge reminded everyone that this isn't Game of Thrones. The president isn't a monarch. Yet. And while the coast fights over troops, the interior's dealing with more meth than a Breaking Bad reboot. A guy in South Dakota got busted with over 200 pounds of crystal meth. That's not trafficking. That's full-scale importing. Homeland Security practically needed a forklift. On the cultural front, America's favorite satirical sages are plotting their exits. Jimmy Please Laugh Kimmel now holds Italian citizenship, not because he loves pasta, but in case he needs to run. John Oliver, despite being a U.S. citizen, says he's mentally living like a hunted man. Can't say I blame them. When your president starts talking about federalizing local pizza delivery, you start Googling escape pods. And if you think all of this is satire, wait until you hear this. The UFC, yes, the Punch Each Other in the Face League, is planning to hold a fight at the White House next year. Nothing screams diplomacy like a side of ground and pound on the Rose Garden lawn. One of the fights might even involve policy advisors going toe-to-toe over budget line items. In this corner, the man who cut Medicaid. In the other, a guy with actual empathy. As we drift toward the end of this solar scroll of madness, let me take you to a quieter corner of the universe, where ancient manuscripts from Timbuktu have finally returned home. No, seriously. After years of being smuggled and hidden like treasure in an RPG, they're back where they belong. Proof that, despite all your species' flaws, some humans still know how to do the right thing. Slowly. Painfully. Eventually. And on that rare, hopeful note, we wrap. Earthlings, you remain gloriously ridiculous. Your politics are a telenovela with a Michael Bay budget. Your courts argue like drunk bar patrons, and your law enforcement agencies couldn't find the moral high ground with a telescope. But you're ours to watch. And oh, do we watch. Until next time, drink water, question everything, and try not to accidentally elect a sentient waffle iron. News from Mars. Signing off.